What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod SCUM. This is the podcast where we dive into the deepest, darkest, murkiest waters with a plethora of legendary, that's right, legendary guests. Calm down, what am I so angry for? Jesus Christ. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the number one scumbag, Rex Ruger. That's Rex with 3 X's dangling there. You might also know me as the King of Sleaze, a.k.a. the hair metal high priest, and most importantly, Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. Look at us here, the smoldering eyes, the coif of chest hair, knowing how to work it. That's Mojo, Pops. High five. Coming to you, as always, from the luscious lavender lounge of love. And joined, as always, by my confidant, my consigliere, my friend, my doorman, my head of security, my occasional drug connection, Keith Hernandez puppet. A true legend. Speaking of legends, let me give myself a look. Yep. All systems go. And why? Because I got the racket in my pocket. This is what gives me this look. That's why this is the No Frills podcast, because I'm giving you thrills gratis. You get to look at this face of the glam king, and that is I throwing down here in the Pod SCUM world. And of course, you also get to see my handiwork here as I pathetically invite my guests. This is the part where it's unglamorous, but guess what? I'm not no Motley Crue. I'm not using no backing tracks, no tricks, no shenanigans. What you see is what you get, and what you get is the front man for the son of glam, the front man for the band. Just smoked several grams, as you could tell by me fucking up my own mantra. Got a million fans. I'm your ice cream man, Mr. Wop Babaloo Boppa Wop Bam Bam Shazam. Hi, damn. Woo, and I'm feeling good. I had to get that in. Especially with Pops looking down on me. A lot of pressure tonight. Got the incense going over there. Got the room smelling oh so nice. Got the ambiance in here. We're going to sit in here and chop it up with a guy who I think could be on the verge of possibly being called a musical genius. I'll talk him up when he gets on here. But in the meantime, let me talk about myself a little more. My favorite subject. Just kidding. It's always about the guest. You know that. That's why it's no frills. It's just thrills. A quick look at the kid here, and then right into kick-ass fucking interviews. That's what we do's here. Well, and here he comes right now. So let's get down to another episode of Pod SCUM. We about to do it. We about to chop it up in here. You ready, Keith? You ready, Keith? Keith always looking ready. My man, where is he?
Right here.
Look at us, man. Couple of guys with some nice locks, huh?
Yeah, man.
You're working it too. Mine's not real, though, man.
Oh, well, you know, shit.
Can I pull it off?
You got the mentality.
And I've got the lineage right there. See that, man?
Oh, yeah, I see.
David Lee, man. Yeah.
Snap.
You're looking at the offspring right here, man. You can't tell? I'm taking you out on tour. Once I get a little bit of that Panama money, man, we're going.
Oh, shit. Hell yeah.
I think you should be out there, man. I think you should be late. You know what? I bitch and moan on here a lot. I talked to a lot of musicians on here about how much I fucking hate what technology has done to the music business. But the one shining thing that I always say is it allows me to find people like you, because the algorithm thing, when I'm on Apple Music and I look up something, you know, it weaves me around to some other shit, and I get to find cool shit. And I think what you're doing is cool.
Yo, man, I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
And I like, you probably have came across like the ad. Well, I was putting money behind like the advertising aspect, at least like just utilizing the Google ads to kind of like give me priority in the algorithm, try to get that. And I was like, man, well, if I could get a couple out of, you know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that you happen to come across it and like it connected. So
Dude, it
That's
has
all.
to be a grind. It has to be a grind, dude. I mean, just I was just talking to my son on the phone, man, and there's such an influx of great music out there, man. And now people can make all this great art, and they can't fucking find anybody to pay 2 fucking nickels for it. It's crazy, man.
Man, I think at the end of the day, like I feel like when people connect with something that's real, especially when it comes to art or music or whatever,
Yeah,
like there's always going to be somebody that'll like pay for the art for the monetary value.
yeah,
Um, it's just finding that amount of people. I mean, there's 7 billion people on the planet, and
yeah,
like music itself is like $1 billion industry. And I think it's just there's a niche for every little aspect of it, I think. And I just think, I don't know, it should be done for the money. But it's like, I don't know, it's like a balance you have to kind of work out
yeah.
between of it, both kind of aspects.
Well, you might not be finding commercial success at the same time in your career as you're finding artistic success, though, sometimes too. You
Yeah,
know?
that's definitely what I feel like. They never really match up. That's always kind of like
Yeah.
with each other, but you know.
So what's the kind of shit that you're listening to that's getting you to create this, you know? And I'm hearing pretty good things, man, you know, on like music platforms, man. People are definitely picking up on like the after I listened to your stuff and then I saw what the platforms were saying, is it purposeful? You know, I hear terms like lo-fi hip hop, jazz, psychedelia, punk rock. You know, do you feel that's an accurate description, man, that that you're hitting a piece of all those genres?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
kind of gather influence from all those different aspects that kind
Yeah.
of formulate my style. And just like over time, I was just trying to learn how to like blend them together and like move in and out in between those spaces respectively. Cause like, especially like me being from Cincinnati, like there's like a healthy scene for almost every genre here.
Yeah.
So I mean, like there's a healthy hip hop scene, there's like a healthy punk rock scene, there's a healthy everything else in between is there's
Yeah.
something there for everything. Like
Yeah.
it's a pretty artistic city. So like I always wanted to try to be participating in like a lot of those different spaces that I really enjoy so much. So
Yeah.
it's like if I want to make shit that like I feel like I can like that would go well with the hip hop show, like I have those music for that. I wanted to have music rock and play with like rock bands and like punk bands and just
Yeah.
different stuff of that element. Like I want to have stuff for that
Yeah.
because I appreciate that music just as much. And it's kind of like I have origins in both, kind of like being in a band and like doing a solo like rapper type of thing. So
So what do you
it,
like more? Just being by yourself? Because it looks like from videos you put up on Instagram, you know, that you're tracking a lot of these instruments yourself. Are you playing everything?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
tracking a lot of the stuff like the guitar and bass stuff I track, and then like the drums for the most part because I can't like the space that I stay I can't have a drum set. So I use like drum samples with
Yeah.
like I have like an MPK like controller, so it has like it's an Akai, so it has like pads and like
Oh,
keys.
yeah, you can fuck around with that, huh? You can do a lot of shit with it, right?
Yeah. So like it's like a combination of those things, but it's like between those two things, like those couple things, like I'm able to kind of like be able to create accordingly. Like so let me see. Like
Yeah.
here's like the setup, like the keyboard. I
You
got
got
a
everything you need.
I got an SP404, and then I
Yeah.
got like some guitars. I got Fender Jag, a 12 string, a Squire Mustang, and just like a bass. So like,
Dude, you're self-contained right there, man. You pretty much don't even got to go nowhere, man. I mean,
nah, it's just my creation, my studio pod.
are there specific multi-instrumentalist guys, man, those specifically that you can that you can pinpoint though? You know, because I'm wearing on my shirt one of the greatest I think to ever do it, man, Prince.
Oh yeah, Prince.
No question, man. My favorite musical artist of all time, man. You know, no offense to any artists out there, just no one's ever going to top Prince for me. And I'm mostly a hard rock and heavy metal guy, man. But Prince just, you know, he gets that pass and just gets to go right to the top of the mountain, man. Incredible.
Yeah, I grew up on Prince, so that definitely was like one for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I mean,
It don't
Pharrell.
seem fair. Dude, I had on a couple of weeks ago, man. I had on the great Dr. Fink, who played keyboards, dressed like a fucking surgeon, total fucking OG of pop music, man. Played keyboards in the Revolution with Prince. And he said, man, that he could never figure it out, man, how Prince could just get behind an instrument and just be fucking comfortable at it. No real formal training. Sit down and play the piano, no fucking problem. Jam on a guitar, no problem. Get behind the drums, crazy, man. He said he never seen anything like it, dude. Just a creative force, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Insane.
like if I had a drum set, I'd definitely be rocking with that too. Like I like playing with anything I could pick up with. Like I like to just like, you know, create with it. And I also carry like disciplines of like being good with like photography and like videography and stuff like that. So it's like several different like disciplines of art that I use to kind of do pull everything together. Like I design all my stuff myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a very DIY self.
Yeah. I feel like I get that though, man. I think you kind of have to do that. I do the same thing here with the podcast, and you know, it's been a labor of love, man. But you know, I'm about at. I mean, I waited to get some in the can first, before, so to speak, before I started putting them up on a YouTube channel. Then I think I waited a little too long, because now some of the weeks I've had to put out multiple ones, because I'm like, fuck, I'm going to be putting these things out at a rate of one a week for the next year, and it's going to be old news by then. So I think I waited a little too long, but I've done, I think, like pretty close to 70 of them so far. I only have 30 of them up, though. I just put episode 30 up. So I'm still sitting on 40, what I think of as great interviews. Because I think of some of these people is like, it doesn't reflect it in the views right now. But if I can get my hooks in a couple of good ones and draw some eyes to the channel, at least that's the game plan that I'm telling myself that I'm going with. You know what I mean? And that's all it takes. And then I'm hoping that the geniuses that I feel like I have on there, yourself included, man, that I can get some eyes on people like you, man. Because, you know, you're doing something different out there, man. You know, I applaud you for it, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I got bands out there that I've been flying the flag for so long, man. A band that I really love, and I was fortunate enough to have the singer of that band. Have you ever heard of a band called Urban Dance Squad?
No, I haven't.
I will hip you to that, man, after we get off the air, man. You know, a band that I think, and you know, hopefully people aren't like, oh my God, here he goes again about Urban Dance Squad. But listen, man, this is a band, though, that I just think was so far ahead of its time. They put out an album in 1989, and it was a band that literally had a phenomenal guitar player, a phenomenal bass player, a studio drummer, but also a DJ. And the guy who sang for him could do punk variations of the song, but he also rapped a lot, though. I mean, they would be right up your alley, man. Right up your alley. I mean, as soon as I heard your music, man, you know, that's what it gave me, that warm feeling like, fuck, this has got to be a guy that knows Urban Dance Squad. Well, you soon will, my friend, because I'm not going to let you off the hook till you do, man. But
yeah, that sounds sick.
Elements, you know what I mean? Elements, and I think they came about 30 years too late, because I told Rude Boy, the singer, I'm like, if you guys were out right now, people will be flocking to you, man, because, you know, in this era now where people are starting to, I don't want to say starting to connect the dots, man, and be okay, you know, with like multiracial bands. You know, saying that, we also saw George Floyd in the 21st century get fucking killed in the street. So I don't know how far we've actually fucking come, really. It's sad, you know, but.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we always going to have that part of society not completely fixed. Like, there's always going to be that.
Did you feel a certain amount of influx of creativity when that happened? As a black man yourself, did that make you, did that spur something inside you to say, I feel like putting pen to paper here, man?
Well, a lot of shit happened at that time. Like when that shit happened, I was like, because I've been like, I actually almost like was a victim of the same type of thing.
Yeah.
So like when I was like 13, like I was like heading home from school, or not from school. I was heading home from a friend's house. And he let me borrow an airsoft gun, and I had to walk in like where our neighborhoods were located. We're on the opposite. We're like on opposite sides of like the school grounds, so I had to walk through the school grounds to get back to my neighborhood.
Right.
So, and I was living in Milford, Ohio at the time. This is what the city is called. But I'm heading home, and I'm just walking, and I just got this airsoft gun in my hand. And I'm not thinking nothing of it. And I'm like crossing over into the baseball field, about to get into the woods to get back to my neighborhood. And like cop car pulls up, pulls like a, like in the action movies where the cop cars like fucking
Yeah.
crazy slant shit. They
Yeah.
fucking gun on the roof. Like it was straight up like that. Like a single cop car just pulls up, like does like one of them moves, fucking gun on the roof, and he's just like, drop your weapon and get on the ground. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, crazy.
I'm like, this is a airsoft gun. He's like, drop your weapon and get on the ground. So I drop my weapon and get on the ground. And then like the cop walks over and then he starts questioning it and shit. And then they drove home. And then like my mom freaked out on me, and it was like this crazy traumatizing experience. So like,
yeah, it sounds like it though, man. I mean, cops can put the fear of God into people though, man. I mean, I've had to dip on the cops a time or two myself in my younger years, man. But I certainly don't want to compare it to anything that I think, unfortunately, black men in America have to go through. It's fucking sad when we can sit and watch a guy be executed, not any better than a dog in the fucking streets. And here we are in the 21st fucking century, an evolved society, man, and people can pull their cameras out and just and this is just allowed to happen. I don't want to say allowed because I do believe that he was punished, but I mean, come on, man. I mean, when you just snatch a fucking life off the face of the earth like that, man, are you ever really punished enough? I mean,
yeah, man, it's
pretty crazy. I mean, it's pretty crazy that.
I know I was definitely active when that stuff happened, and I was like, all right, I'm hitting the streets, and my entire city was like, it was just weird because the whole world was paused because of the pandemic, first of all.
Yeah.
So everybody's music gigs dried up. Everybody's like sitting there like, what's going on? And then this shit happened, and then they ease up a little bit on the lockdown in my state. Where are you from, by the way?
I'm in upstate New York.
Oh shit!
I have to differentiate and say upstate New York because everybody just thinks the minute I say I'm from New York, boom, what part of the city do you live in? It's like everything everything that isn't the fucking city is pretty much upstate. So everything once you leave New York City all the way through, because I'm closest to Syracuse.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah.
Shout out to the great Carmelo Anthony, Syracuse alumni. Probably the best thing we have to boast of, but
yeah, I mean, shit, New York is awesome.
The world mellow. Yeah, it is. I mean, we're about to get dumped on though tonight with a massive amount of fucking snow, though, dude. It's coming down, man. We're supposed to get about 12 inches.
Hey, but y'all got that weed recreational though.
Yeah. Oh man, you're not kidding, man. Yeah, I'm under the influence right now, man, and I am pretty much most times at night around this time, man. I've done a lot of them. I'm putting them up on YouTube, and I'm thinking, yup, I was fucking blazed for that one. Yup, I was blazed during that one. Sometimes I'll have them in like if I have a day off from work, because I work in healthcare. But if I do one in the middle of the afternoon, sometimes I won't be blazed. But these ones that I do at night, forget it, man. It's on, dude. I mean, yeah. I'm pie-eyed. I have to have notes. I don't hide behind nothing, dude. The people know.
Yeah.
I like to keep the conversation organic like this, but I gotta have a little bit of a map of where I want to go.
Yeah. You gotta have some coordination, an outline.
I gotta know, Feral Pigeons on Government Square is your album. You know what I mean? I have to fucking know that because I want people to know that.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, man, I low-key think that what you're doing, man, is listen, I don't want to inflate anybody's ego or act like I'm some kind of connoisseur of music or have my ear to the pavement any more than anybody else, man. But I think people like Prince, people like Lenny Kravitz, people like the aforementioned Urban Dance Squad geniuses. People like you, multi-instrumentalists who are sitting around chilling, doing their thing, man. Are diamonds in the rough, man. Sometimes it's all just timing, man. You know what I mean? Somebody sees your face, the right person sees your face. I mean, I look at it like this. If I do it and 100 people watch this, man, and 50 of them become your fans, I mean, who cares, Yeah,
that's all I could ask for, And I like generally like podcasts and just like conversation based media. And then I catch myself like interjecting in the podcast I'm watching, and I'm like, I'm not even in, but like actually being in the podcast, like you can kind of, I don't know, you're actually in the driver's seat versus like watching NASCAR, I guess. I don't know, or rally cars or whatever. But,
so I noticed, like I said on Instagram, you're playing different instruments, man. But I seem to notice, the common thread, the one you seem to be, you certainly do an awesome job on all of them, man. But I think you would say probably the guitar is your main one.
Yeah, the guitar is my first kind of like main instrument. Yeah.
And so I hate to ask the dreaded influence question because it's always asked, man. But so I try to put it another way. Like, who are some guys who you dig that who play guitar, man? I don't even want to say that they influence you, but just guys whose playing you really love.
Man, I mean, you got your classics, like all the classic, Santana, Hendrix,
Yeah,
David Gilmour,
yeah,
and then like I like a lot of like the like alternatives, like Jay Mascis from Dinosaur Jr.
yeah, yeah.
Billy Corgan. Oh, like I always love the way he like layers his guitars, and then and then Kurt Cobain's like simplicity, but like I don't know, it kind of gave me a segue when I first started learning guitar, because it was like I learned guitar through Guitar Hero, got me into guitar because of Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
And then like Nirvana was like one of the first kind of groups I kind of started to learn their songs, and like it started to advance my like own songwriting. So I feel like Kurt Cobain was probably the biggest influence on my guitar getting me started. And then like I started to take in like some John Frusciante, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
One of my favorites. A genius.
Yeah.
A genius.
Floyd. And then like a lot of the new guys, like I like Mac DeMarco a lot. Like I just like the way he picks his tones for his guitars. Crombin, this band out of Texas that kind of do like these like reverb filled like Thai funk type of records that are really dope. Man, I don't know. Like Gorillaz is a crazy influence of mine as well. Just being able to layer like hip hop beats over guitar and just different elements, but completely change like I don't know, just the blending of the genres. And yeah, a lot, man. Definitely.
You got your Wi-Fi turned on. You're getting a little pixelated.
Oh, is it? Let me see. I should be connected to it.
There you go. You look all right there, man.
Oh, true. Yeah, I was on my data here. I should be linking into my Wi-Fi now.
I'm telling you, man. You name some guys who really strike a chord with me, man. I think Frusciante. I'm a little bit pissed that I would like to go see them at the Syracuse Carrier Dome here in April, man. But one thing I will protest vehemently here is this fucking handling fee that all these ticket brokers are putting on it. $79 for a seat. And this is all of them, mind you. I'm not just calling out fucking Ticketmaster here. This is Vivid Seats, StubHub, any of these bullshit fucking places, man. I see why Pearl Jam was trying to go up against Ticketmaster back in the 90s. Unfortunately, they failed, but $25 handling fee, which pushes now the ticket price from $79, a manageable $79, up to an unmanageable $104. This is no good.
Yeah, that's crazy. Because
so I will not be seeing John Frusciante play live here in April, man, because I'll probably not be able to attend. It's just crazy. By the time I buy a ticket for me and my wife, I mean, now all of a sudden you got to take out a second mortgage on your fucking house to go see a big band. Parking, food, gas out there. You know what I mean? You turn it into two tickets. It becomes a serious dent to your pocketbook.
Yeah, that's heavy, dude. Because I know, like, I saw Flaming Lips, Jack White, and Smashing Pumpkins this year, and I think like I paid like $50 for the Flaming Lips. Jack White was like 25 to $30, and then Smashing Pumpkins ended up being about like 50.
Is this including these fees that I'm speaking of, or do these fees not exist in Ohio?
I mean, they were there, but it wasn't. It was after the fees. Like,
so this was total.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the sales. Like, if you're like in a city that it sells a lot of, then the ticket price goes up higher faster. So like when the tickets don't sell as much, they lower the price of the ticket to try to fill the seats.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
that's
think what happens is, man, those fan clubs, man, and shit too. Like they buy up a lot of them seats right out of the gate before they even go on sale to the general public too. So
yeah,
some of those shits are already gone, man. So I think I'm just gonna I think I'm gonna take the hair metal outlet instead and take my wife in August to the same Syracuse Carrier Dome and see Def Leppard and Motley Crue and Alice Cooper. There you have it, man. There you have it. That's an exclusive. Listen,
yeah.
I've seen all those bands except for Alice Cooper, man, multiple times, man. But the thing that I'm so excited about, man, and I'll always defend my '80s hair rock. I don't think they like being called that hair metal bands, but still, it's the genre they're most identified by. But now, Motley Crue, Mick Mars has retired and been replaced by John Five, a
Oh yeah,
phenomenal guitar player,
yeah. That dude's crazy.
and a much younger guy too, man. I mean, it was time for Mick to hang it up, man. He's got the bad back. I think the touring is too hard on him.
I feel like Vince Neil back with Marley Crew now, ain't they?
Oh yeah. Hopefully he's not as fat as ever, man, because sometimes he's letting the audience sing them songs and he's half-assing it around stage, lollygagging around, man. He's got to come and I think you owe it to an audience, man. You got to come correct on a fucking stage, man. Come on, man. You got to bring it.
Yeah, he running out of gas, man.
Yeah.
Gas. Cause I caught a few videos and like it was in like Brazil or some shit.
Yeah.
And he was like blowing he was like butchering his vocals.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I like a few. I think I'm more biased towards the '90s alternative shit. That's the shit that resonated with me.
Yeah.
And like in the cultural paradigm, they always look at that as the antithesis of hair metal. But
Yeah.
I do like a few that I appreciate out of there, like Guns N' Roses and like
yeah.
Van Halen, Jane's Addiction.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Oh, I like The Cure. The Cure is dope too. Even though that wasn't hair metal, it was like goth, but like kind of the same time.
Well, Robert Smith, the singer, had weird hair. Definitely, there's definitely some product going into that hair, man. You don't get locks like that without a little product, man.
It was hair goth.
Yeah, hair goth. Hey, you're preaching to the choir, man. I loved a lot of that '90s shit too, man. Even though I'm a product of the '80s, man. I'm going to be 50 years old next month. Jesus Christ, that's fucking depressing. I'm going to be 50, man. But having lived through the '80s, there's some great music that came out of the '80s, man. But you know what? It's not like we got gypped with the '90s grunge shit, though. We got some great. It was more than just a phase, man, because a lot of those bands have now become some of America's biggest rock bands. Well, I guess the only one, Eddie Vedder's really the only front man still alive, man. But for a while, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, all those bands were all legendary.
Yeah, man, they were. It's just like the raw balance between metal and like punk and like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's crazy, like what they managed to get out of that, like that rugged part of the country, and like being from the Midwest. Like I can low key kind of identify with like being from a place that's just like not viewed as significant as the rest of the country, and then like I don't know, I feel like I could just identify a lot with being like with those. Like identifying with like how those people were, they're like the outcasts of their social circles.
Yeah. Now, when you say outcast of your social circle, though, man, does it have anything to do with or have you been a victim of or portrayed as somebody who shouldn't be doing your kind of music? It's not always viewed that that a black man is going to be making this kind of music. Do you get the stereotype like like you should be when you're going to start doing music, people automatically think you're going to rap?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, and with hip hop being like the most popular genre in the world, like I'm definitely like. I remember one time going to this punk show and like this band from Texas called Noogie played, and like one of the front dudes, like afterwards, I kind of like gave him dap on the show and stuff, and I was kind of explaining to him that I do music, and he's like, "Oh, you rap?" Like that was like the first. Like, oh, you rap? And I'm like, I mean, I do, but I'll do X, Y, and Z. And he's like, oh, you're all over the place.
God forbid. What else could you do but rap, right? He's got right there. That's his default right there.
Yeah, he immediately assumed rap, but it's cool. Like, I mean, I technically do, but I'm just not like, and I don't feel like a rapper. Like, like I've been like I know rappers, and I feel like rappers they're dudes that go in the booth and just like they're completely centered around the bars, and
Yeah.
like there's some shit. There's a lot of overlap. Like some people make beats and stuff in the production, and like there's a lot of overlap. But the rapper himself, he puts more emphasis on like just having like those bars. And
Yeah.
I value bars, but I'm really more so less about that and more about like conveying an idea with like more abstractions now. But
Yeah.
it wasn't always like that. Like a lot of my older stuff, I definitely had like more lyricism and like was about bars.
I could hear it, man. I did my homework, dude. I listened to I listened to the two albums that were available on Apple Music. Your latest one, and then you did one before that sounded a lot more hip hop.
Yeah, I think I bet too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so it was just like, and I have like a Bandcamp that really like on my Bandcamp page, like I've really been making music for like 15 years.
Yeah.
And so like I have a Bandcamp for my all of my stuff since I was like 16 up until now. So
Yeah.
it's like way more it's like probably like 10 projects or so, include EPs or whatever. But a lot of the stuff that I put on there, I had changed distributions through United Masters and just haven't taken the time to upload everything.
Yeah.
Kind of a tedious process. So
it's a grind when you're doing it, do it yourself. It's a grind, man, because it's you literally find out quick that you literally are doing it yourself. you know?
Yeah, it is. But you get to once you start making money, you like make all the money.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Less middlemen to have hands in your pockets. So
I like before you got on here, dude. I got the notification and I saw that you were shouting out on your own page that you were going to come on the podcast here tonight, man. And you insinuated like you'd like to do more of these. Do you think, do you think getting your face out there and doing an interview has its upside in the music biz today? Or are we just wasting fucking time, me and you right now?
Nah, man. I mean, I think it has its value when you're at like it depends on the level of your career you're at. Like,
yeah.
Like obviously in the beginning you want to do a lot, you want to be a lot more active in like doing press runs or like doing podcasts and things like that and enjoying the process. But once you get to a certain point of your career where like people like know about you and stuff and you want to have like a little bit of mystery and stuff like that, like you gotta obviously start moving different. Like you got like a rapper that had just blew up on SoundCloud. He's doing way more podcasts and press runs to try to get his name out versus like Jay-Z. He might do one interview every 2 years or something.
He was the guy that I was going to use as an example too. It's like he's already carved out his billion. His girl's already carved out her billion. He's got hot Beyonce home. Well, I wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
I'd be home all the time.
Like he only signs autographs. There's this story that just came out today. He only like signs autographs like once a week or something for the people that meet outside his office. And he went outside his office to sign autographs. And the last person that he was going to sign had a bootleg copy of his Black album. And he was like, nah, he did not sign it. Like,
oh, man. I don't know if I like that move, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a little weird about shit that he'll autograph. Like someone asked him to autograph a baseball, and he said he doesn't play baseball, so he isn't going to autograph it. And I was just like,
"You asked him to do that? You asked him to sign a baseball?"
No, not me.
Oh, somebody else. Okay.
Yeah, somebody else did.
Well, I gotta say, man, to Jay-Z, that's totally un-American. I mean, baseball and apple pie were here long before Jay-Z was. Man, you got to take the baseball and sign it, don't you?
Yeah.
Everybody forgets. Everybody forgets.
I thought because, like, especially being a New Yorker, like baseball is like one of the center fucking pastimes of New York. The fabric.
We got two teams. Yeah.
And I mean, and like I'm from Cincinnati, and like the Cincinnati Reds were like the first baseball team, literally the first baseball team.
I hear Keith Hernandez puppet back there booing. He doesn't like the Reds. He likes cocaine and the Mets. That's it.
I get it. Shit. I don't even like follow baseball enough to like combat. I just like I'm from here, so I'm like, all right, home team. But I get it though.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Mets fan, man, but obviously being a New York Mets fan, we
Yeah,
spent a lot of time in the shadow of the historic New York Yankees. You know what I mean? So that's tough.
right.
You know, we're always playing second fiddle in this town. You know, I mean, it's tough because the New York Yankees have won a lot more than the Mets have, man. You know, the Mets have been, you know, to a couple of World Series, but compared to the Yankees, I mean, you know, they've won almost 30 of them.
Yeah, the Yankees be juiced up though, man.
Yeah.
Their legacy's kind of tarnished a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Not Jeter, though. Jeter was a class act. I'll give Jeter credit.
okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Jeter seemed to play the game right. Didn't ever seem to get really, really big. I don't think he was ever juicing on the roids. You know, he's the kind of guy you want to build like a franchise around. You know, keeps his nose clean off the field. You don't have to see him in the headlines getting in fucking shit and getting pulled over, getting DWIs. Some of these dudes just are fucking crazy, man. They got a great platform, man, and they're still going out acting like idiots. When you're making a lot of money, dude, call somebody to come pick you up.
Right.
You're telling me the Yankees would rather not send a car to pick up Derek Jeter, man, and rather than deal with the bad press? That's crazy, man. I mean, he's your star player.
Yeah, man. And baseball players get paid the most money out of everybody, like every
Yeah.
pretty much. So
And I'll tell you what, man, they're all getting to be a bunch of crybabies anyway, man. I mean, you can't touch a quarterback in the NFL now. You know, they're landing on their ass. They're throwing their hands up. They're looking at you. You know, everything is too rough. Flags are flying everywhere. The NBA guys drive to the hoop. They throw their arms up. They want to foul every single fucking time. All these guys are just looking for, like, there's no hard no shit no more. I like Charles Oakley, man. He wrote a great book called, and he played for the New York Knicks. That's my team. And it was called The Last Enforcer. See, nobody on a team is an enforcer no more, man. There's nobody playing hard nose. They all look like they're a bunch of friends out there now, just jump shooting, playing a pickup game.
shit, man. I think they just trying to not get with football. I think they just trying not to get CTE.
Yeah, and that's coming down on them too.
You know, like back in the 70s and shit like that, they was knocking them for real.
Yeah.
And next, you know, they're just like kill themselves like years later or like murder some shit.
Yeah, like they'd be or they'd be nuts, like they'd be somewhere
Yeah.
fucking insane somewhere, you know, and just doing copious amounts of booze or drugs, or they'd be messed up.
Yeah, man, it's just that shit heavy. Like I used to play football for middle school, like in middle school.
You look like it, man.
Yeah, definitely was like built for football. But I did a straight up 180 and got into skateboarding, and then like I skateboarded from like 13 to maybe like last year until I broke my arm and shit.
Oh, that's the end of it then, man. You got to guard that. Yeah, hey, listen, man. If it's gonna be KAE Savage, man, world domination, you got to fucking take care of that arm, bro. You can't be out fucking around on a skateboard, man.
Exactly. I ain't trying to break that shit again. So,
fuck, dude. Yeah, dude. Like that could be your. I mean, that's your meal ticket, man. Never mind that skateboard, man. You got to take care of that arm, man. You could be. I'm gonna say it, man. You could be the next Prince. I know you're not doing the same kind of music, man, but you've certainly got a very unique sound that seems to run. It certainly seems to pull from a lot of different genres, and that's cool. I think when people are making good, interesting, diverse, eclectic music, a spotlight should be on them.
Yeah, man. Nah, I'll take that in the absolute most like highest compliments. Like Prince is the goal, like the architect. He is the architect of like that whole ordeal for sure. And
now, what's your creative process like, man? Like when you sit down to like write, are you somebody that has like a specific routine? Like I go in this room and write, or I got to have it like this to write, or you got to be fucking blazed to fucking write. That helps, right?
Yeah, no, it definitely helps. I think I think for me it starts with like either one or two things, either like a mantra that I feel like can turn into a hook, or like the melody. But 90% of the time it's the melody.
Yeah.
And like a melody on the guitar or something, and I'm like playing around with like just like different keys and like the rule of fifths and I'm kind of experimenting with I think the circle of fifths, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
And just like just experimenting with different chord shapes and seeing what type of chord changes I can get. And then I'm like, once I find something, I'm like, wait a minute, this is kind of cool. And I'll play it over and over again. Cause like in my day job, I basically just like test returned instruments from Amazon to see if they can be resold. So I'm playing instruments all day anyways.
Yeah.
it's like I'll come up with a melody, start writing something, then then I'll make different variations and stack them on top of each other until I have like a song, and then I'll record it, and then take that, bounce that recording down, and just listen to it over and
Yeah.
over again until like the words or like the melody, like I'll start humming melodies or like abstract whatever vocalizations to try to get that song, and then like the feeling or the emotion or like the words just like come, and then I go back and record the vocals over that and just keep doing that, layering it
Yeah.
like a painting basically. And
Yeah.
it's basically like a painting that I build from the canvas. Like I grab the wood, wrap the canvas around it, staple it. Like it's like that type of process all the way to the end product where the paint is drying. Like,
Yeah.
and
I like the analogy too. I like the analogy about the painting thing. Yeah. That
yeah,
makes sense. That's a cool way to describe like building a song though. I mean, like it's and it's you're certainly building a piece of art, I mean,
yeah, definitely just like a painting of sound. Or like another way that I kind of could take the process too is if like I'm messing with samples, I'll like find a sample and put it into like my like Ableton and play around with the sample and the drum pattern and
yeah.
build a beat like that. Sometimes it could come like that. That's how a lot of my process used to be with like my hip hop stuff.
Yeah.
And or sometimes I might just like it might be like a lot more divergent process. Like I might have a sample and then have a drum over top of it. And then I'm like, man, let me just take the drums out. And then I'm like, I just like it like that. And this
Yeah.
ride the beat like that. So there's just multiple ways I could kind of skin it. It's like another analogy would be like a sandwich, like trying to, having different types of bread, different types of meat, cheese,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You can come up with infinite combinations if you're in the middle of the grocery store.
Sure.
So I
Yeah.
always feel like I'm in the middle of the grocery store right now. This is my personal grocery store. And I'm like, all right, today I'm gonna get ciabatta bread, get some banana peppers and some damn chicken breast, cut it up, make a chicken Philly, and like make that on the spot. I have what I need to get
Yeah.
said cuisine together.
I think you're just too high and you want to bring up food right now, man.
Yeah. That's
the bane of that's the bane of the whole high right there, man. God's got it. And I certainly always never want to say anything blasphemous, man. But it seems like with the weed, it's just a little unfair. He got it like 99.9% right. If you didn't have to run like right for some fucking shit to eat and kind of almost eat the fucking pleasurable high away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And
sometimes I'm angry, man, that it makes me high. Sometimes I'll even try to eat a good amount before going out to smoke. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
You always go be hungry after the fact. Like,
yeah, you are. And I also learned too, at least for me personally, like we have a swimming pool, just a 5 foot above ground swimming pool, man. But if I smoke and I go get in that water, no matter what the temperature of the water is, man, that kind of kills my buzz too. Just getting submerged in the water and shit. Yeah, I kind of come out and kind of like, I'm not really like,
I might put my feet in the water. Like, I might put my feet in the water. Like, if I'm by a river or something, like, I'll do that on some chill shit. But I like kayaking. That shit's fun.
You don't got nothing dangerous in the water where you are, right? No, you're in Ohio, though. You're not even that far away. You don't got nothing creepy swimming around in the water out there, do you?
Nah, we might have, like, copperheads out here, but I ain't ever ran into one ever. And they don't really... I think we got copperheads in Ohio, but
those are poisonous, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. But I've never ran it. They're like rare. They're kind of rare. Like I don't really see them. But
are you confident when you live in a place that has copperheads, man? And I don't know like what's around you in your area, man, but everybody usually has an opinion on the shit that's in their area. Like, oh, the restaurants are good, or all the hospitals and the doctors fucking suck, or whatever. But so if you got bit by one of these fucking copperheads and you had snake venom in you, are you confident you could go to your nearby hospital and they'd have the anti-venom or no? Or you'd be fucked?
That is a good question. And honestly, I think I would be fucked because people don't really like copperheads aren't like people tell me that there are copperheads, and I hear it from people.
Yeah.
But I never hear about copperheads really being a thing in Ohio. Like, I've never actually seen a copperhead.
Okay.
But every time I say we don't have anything in Ohio that's dangerous, they're like, well, we got black widow spiders and we got copperheads. And I'm like,
both bad.
Yeah. And I'm like, I've never seen, I know a black widow spider, I could see that being in Ohio, but it's like, I've never seen them. And I like going to the woods a lot. I've been camped out, all that shit, never seen either.
What
And
about is there any truth to several years back, not too many, but several years back, there was I believe on A&E channel on television, the show, it started in Pennsylvania, but I believe some of it was taking place over in Ohio too. The Amish, are they a big presence where you are?
Nah,
No.
nah. If they are, they like way out in the sticks. Like, I'm in Cincinnati, and like I'm in a very urban area. I've never seen an Amish at all, but I can see a lot of Ohio is like farmlands and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like, in between Dayton, Columbus, and Cleveland, and like a few little cities in between.
Yeah.
Those are like the biggest city parts, but everything else in Ohio is just flat cornfields. And I could see Amish being out in the cornfields and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, one of my mom's roommates had like some Amish coffee, so I know that's within reach out here. They gotta be somewhere out here. I just know they're not really down in the city where I'll be at.
Yeah, nothing for them down there, man. I think they like it out in those areas, man, because that's how they make a lot of their. We've got some here in New York State. They're more like Mennonites. It's more of like a religion, but you see them with the hats and the Abe Lincoln beards with no mustache and the suspenders, and there's even some horse and buggy ones around here too, man, that actually travel around the back roads up here. But I think they make a lot of their living off of. I see them a lot at like the farmers market, like they're selling their fruits and vegetables. They do a lot of carpentry. They do a lot of shit like that, baked goods.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about the Amish and the Mennonites. Like, they do, like they're really good at growing food and coffee and stuff, but also hear about puppy mills.
Yeah, unsanitary. I always hear they're not really big on hygiene. So, you got some hand fucking molding that bread and shit or picking them fucking veggies, dude, and they're kind of dirty.
Yeah. I don't know about that, man.
Yeah. Some crazy shit going on out there, man.
I've had some of that coffee, though, and that dirty ass coffee, pretty good.
Yeah. Cleaned you out, man.
Yeah.
So you talk a lot about the do it yourself attitude, and obviously you're playing all the instruments. Have you ever flirted with the idea of, like, if you go out and play, is it still just you, or have you ever toyed with the idea of a band? And if not, why no band?
I actually do have a band.
Okay.
The band's name is Intuitive.
Okay.
It's a 4-piece. It's guitar, bass, violin, and drums.
Okay.
And we're kind of like in a strange semi-active kind of phase right now. Cause like the bass player, he plays in his own band and another band as well. Like, a lot of Cincinnati, like, there are a lot of bands and there's a lot of people that play in multiple bands at the same time. And
right.
So like they prioritize it's just always this conflict of interest where they prioritize one band over the other. So it kind of between that and everybody's schedules being busy, just haven't really been able to like link up and work it to get things done. But we've played maybe like twice this year, maybe 3 times.
How is it billed? Is it billed as KAE Savage and Intuitive, or are you guys just Intuitive?
It's just Intuitive.
But when you guys get together and create as a band, are you kind of the guy that spearheads shit, or is it kind of a collaborative effort? Are you, do you take the reins on a lot of the shit, the music and the lyrics and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like the spearhead, so it's a lot of it's built around like my lyrics and rapping and playing guitar.
Okay,
I'm just kind of go around that, and I have some of that music too. I could send to you to check out.
Yeah, sure.
But it's crazy too, because like we put out like we put out like 2 EPs, and our first EP we did, it was recorded with the same engineer who engineers for Bootsy Collins.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
So it was real cool working with him. Tobe, shout out Tobe and Tobe Donahue. But we worked on it at his studio and recorded it. And it was like a weird process though, because we recorded like all of the songs in one session. And it was just like, I feel like maybe we should have took more time on each individual thing, but
yeah,
I also was kind of like crunching on time and try to get it knocked out for like New Year's. And unfortunately, it was New Year's 2020. So like when we dropped our album at the top of the year, and then by March, it was like shut down.
Yeah, bad timing. Yes, I mean, but hey, there's nothing anybody could do about that. You know what I mean?
It was a tsunami, man. No one could prepare for the tsunami that just
No. Dude, they couldn't, man. I mean, it's like it's almost akin to being up here, like this time of year, people are driving around in their with their cars and they're hitting these fucking deer that jump out in front. And you know what, man? These deers jump out so quickly out of those woods that unless you got lightning fast reflexes, dude, you're not stopping. You're hitting one of these fucking things. You know what I mean? It's almost an act of God. It's because you're driving and then boom, they're on your fucking hood of your car.
Yeah.
And they proceeded to do about $2,000 of fucking front end damage to it. Yeah,
5 point buck.
Yeah, those fuckers stove your shit right in, man. I mean, it's a fucking nightmare, dude. I've had to total out cars before, man, just because the damage, the principle is the damage outweighs like what's left on that you owe on the car. Yeah, they get big damage if you hit a big one.
Yeah, that shit's heavy. Yeah.
But then they don't let hunters go out and get a lot of them. They only tell you, hey, you've got X amount of tags. I say let the hunters go out and fucking kill all these goddamn things. They're obviously causing insurance companies a gazillion fucking dollars. Because when I took my car up to get fixed, it's just rows and rows and rows of cars that were just decimated by deers waiting to get fixed.
Yeah.
So they're costing companies money, man.
It's just going to be like an unfortunate, if we did take out all the deers, something else that they help control is going to grow out of control and it's going to make the ecosystem weird.
Yeah.
We don't have any venison at our disposal.
Right. Which I could take or leave, but my son-in-law sometimes has whipped it up in some pretty good jerky. I like it in jerky form. It is pretty, venison jerky is pretty damn good, but.
Yeah, I want to try the jerky. I've never tried the jerky before.
Let me ask you about the what did I have written down that I wanted to ask you about? Goals, man. Like when you're putting this music out, do you have some definitive goals or like an idea of when you're going to feel like how we talked about earlier about, commercial success, which may or may not ever come, but artistically, if it doesn't come, man, is that even an option? I mean, you work a day job, but like, is there a goal here to make music like the full-time fucking, this is all I do for a living?
Yeah. And like one of my long-term goals is to kind of like book a out of town show every weekend. But in order for me to get there, I have to get mobile. So getting that situation together, probably come tax season, I'm probably going to get a car together and start toying around with that idea so I can have other places and cities and shows to play. Because I know once people hear the music, like they'll definitely want to cop merch and like rock with me. I just need to get to those places and make it happen.
Dude, you're preaching to the choir. That's the same thing that I'm doing here, man. And I usually my routine most nights is I go out after dinner, smoke a little, and I have my son is 28 years old. He smokes as well, but he lives about a half an hour away. So in order to feel like we're chopping it up and hanging out together, I sit in my car freezing my ass off. He's in his car at home. We smoke, got each other on speakerphone, and we chop it up. And he likes the way the whole thing. He'll help me get guests and facilitate me getting interviews here and there if he thinks that somebody's cool or that he heard about doing something. Because I was bragging to him tonight that I found you. He didn't pass you on to me. You know what I mean? I was like, hey, I found this guy and he's he's doing some pretty cool shit. But he will try to turn me on to some people or whatever. But the point is now I forgot what the fucking point is because I'm so goddamn high. See that? I get on a fucking tangent. No, I'll get back to it in a second here. What was the point I was trying? Oh, the fact that you do the rap thing. Do you find that to be harder than the rock thing? Because there's a lot of dudes out there who are trying to get themselves on as rappers. Because I can tell I hear a lot of it on the first album. Was that a specific thing you did, changing your sound up?
Yeah, I just got so bored, honestly, with it because I had made like so many rap projects.
And I'm not going to lie right there, man. I don't even think that was the question I wanted to ask you, but I got myself so twisted around, and now I need a sip of my windshield washer fluid, man. So,
yeah, blue drink, man.
great diet, man. It guaranteed to lose 100 pounds in 2 days. No, it's actually the stuff that we get from Stewart's up here. It literally tastes like one of those blue popsicles, but melted.
Yeah. I know about the blue raspberry drink.
Oh man, and this isn't like what the rappers do out there with the purple stuff, man.
Yeah.
There's no NyQuil and there's no what the fuck?
Yeah, no night or day quill.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I'm not Lil Wayne in it here, man. No siree, man. But no. But I think the thing that I was gonna say before you answer your question was I was gonna speak to your point about the hoping some people see it. I'm kind of doing that with the podcast too, just kind of organically. And I'm pretty proud, like every month, if the subscribers go up just a little bit. Of course, I realized that in order to monetize the site, I'm going to need a fucking lot more. But, hey, the grind goes on,
Right. That's exactly what it is.
It's all any of us can do, man.
Enjoy the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. I've had what I believe on there. And I'm not trying to sound pretentious or like I figured out how to podcast over every other fucking person out there. And it seems like there's a lot of them, famous and not famous, just guys home doing it, talking to their heroes or talking to people in bands that they dig. But I think when I look at mine right now, I'm pretty fucking proud. And what makes me most proud is I've had some other artists who either came on and did interviews or checked out my page prior to coming on and doing the interviews and saying, wow, you've interviewed some pretty cool fucking people. One guy told me the other day that he listens to me every day when he's out taking his dog for a walk.
Yeah, man. That be the ones that like those day one fans and people that audience that stay plugged into everything you do.
Yeah.
Cause I feel like I have two different types of people that rock with me. The people that rock with me no matter with whether I make my hip hop shit or my rock shit.
Right.
Then I people that are predominantly into the hip hop shit, and then the people that predominantly like the guitar shit, and it's just so many different. It's kind of segmented into different places, but yeah.
Well, let me get back to the question I was asking you though, because I went back and remade because I remembered where I was saying, but was that a purposeful change from the first album to the second album? Because I listened to them both, and it sounds like you were doing much more elements of hip hop on that first album.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely intentional. I just got too. I just got fatigued.
I like the move. I like the move because I think everybody and their brother nowadays is trying to be a hip hop artist.
Yeah,
they are.
It's just oversaturated, such an oversaturated place right now. And
it's derivative. It's become derivative because nobody has anything any different to say in any of these songs. It's a lot of misogynistic shit. It's still a lot about the bling and the guns and just the materialistic fucking bullshit, bitches. The same shit. No one's really got anything to say. No one's really giving their slant on what's going on out there in the world. I'll take those guys that are, your KRS-Ones, your Chuck D's, those guys that are giving you, telling you what's going on with the social landscape.
Well, there is a lot of stuff within new hip hop that tells stories and that have that content.
Yeah.
That's not really the stuff that people often come across that have the algorithm priority.
Yeah.
Like you got your Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Ab-Soul.
That's my guy right there, Ab-Soul. You just hit him on the head right there, man. The guy with the bad eyes and the long hair. That's my guy, man. Out of all the new guys, because I tend to be stuck in a time warp, where people try to turn me on, especially in the genre of hip hop. I can get down with new rock bands and shit, but my hip hop, I tend to stay back in the 80s and 90s, man, the golden era, man. But of any of the new guys, I like what Ab-Soul does. He's got a very, very peculiar, specific slant on things.
Yeah. He about to drop an album very soon too.
I hope so, man. It's been a minute for him.
Yeah. Nah. I've heard a couple previews of it, and it's like It's really good.
He needs what, yeah. Well, if you're gonna see, that's kind of the drawback. If you're gonna play that game and make the fans salivate and wait or whatever and tease and tease and tease, then you got to make sure that you drop a bomb ass album, though, man, because that's when they'll fucking eat you alive. You know what I mean? Because nowadays, and I've talked about that on here before too. The attention span of the public has gotten to be such that there's only so many hours in a day. You got to work, you got to sleep. You think about the time that you actually have for your own personal enjoyment and relaxation out of a day. You're going to go grab music, man, that changes the emotion that you're in. You might be sad and want to be happy. You might be pissed and want to get more fucking pissed. Maybe you want to go from thrash to death metal if you feel angry that day or something. But still, you're going to go grab shit, man, and you're going to go back to a lot of that same shit again, man. So I think the key today in music is just to write great songs that hopefully like resonate with people, man, because people go back to them things. There's a reason why even now, 30 years later, people still love Journey's Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah.
They created a timeless song.
Yeah, man, they did. I mean, there's a lot of dope stuff coming out now that I've come across, like Turnstile is like one of the new bands to come out recently that have kind of like
love them. Yeah,
they just have like a crazy sound. Show Me the Body is another one that I've like been listening to.
But my point is though, is people are putting out long albums and people don't have enough time in their day to listen to a lot of music if they're the regular average, John Q taxpayer out there working a job and sleeping, man. So, they want to go to those songs that elicit certain emotions or take them back in time. I love when music does that, man. Like I'll hear like a song from the 80s and like, boom, I'm right back there being 14 again. You know what I mean? Like remembering where I was, who I was partying with. Good music is like a time machine almost in that respect,
Yeah, I do like the nostalgic aspect of it. Like,
yeah, or a song will take you back to thinking about your mom, thinking about your dad, thinking about crawling around on the floor in a room full of adults, and those might be your earliest memories, man. But a song could just like boom, transport you there. It used to be back in the day that was the template. Everybody was trying to write their stairway to heaven because songs could become iconic. And you were just trying to write that great song. Now we've kind of got the opposite, man. All these bands are all giving us all this music that they're all claiming is all fucking masterpieces and great, but no one's really trying to write that definitive. That's what I used to love about Will Smith. I tell my son about Will Smith all the time. Some of the cheesiest asinine rap, and call it what you will. I mean, it was pretty frivolous. The songs were about shaking asses and fun, but that guy would just come out with a summer banger like every 3 years and just cash checks.
Right.
It's like he's got Getting Jiggy with It. Then you don't hear from him for 2 years. Then he drops, Welcome to Miami. And then you don't hear from him for, what I mean? The guys, and in between, he's just doing movies.
Man, I mean, I feel like Jaden kind of took that template too and ran with it. And he's put out a good body of work too. I guess it runs in the family for real.
Who is this you're talking about?
Jaden Smith, his son.
Oh, yeah. Except he's not the Karate Kid, though, dude. I couldn't swallow him as the Karate Kid. But again, I'm an 80s dude,
Yeah. I ain't talking about the acting, though. The acting definitely, I meant more so with the music, I guess.
Oh, okay. See, and I won't speak on that because I'm not familiar with it. So in all fairness, I don't know, like, what he does musically. But, at the end of the day, like, whether you like Will's music or not, or you like to slap, or you like to slap Heard Around the World or not, how did you feel about the slap as a black man? Did you like him going up there and slapping Chris Rock?
Yeah, I thought it was so weird because it felt like a fever dream. Like I thought it was like not real.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, because the security didn't do anything after the fact. And I was
right. That's what I was going to ask. You're from Cincinnati, man. Like, I'm sure that people in Cincinnati, like know how to get down, and there's probably some seedy parts of town, just like there are anywhere else. And you've probably seen a thing or two, being a city guy, man, you've seen a thing or two go down. Did you think it was staged when you first saw it? Like maybe they were doing some shtick?
Yeah, it just looks so fake. Cause I feel like any normal confrontation, you go up and slap somebody, there's like immediate fighting after that, like you swinging on them, whatever.
Yeah.
Chris Rock just like did not do that. He was like, wow, like he just does that, and I was kind of just like, was that all right? And then he sat back down, and dude was just like, keep my wife's name out your mouth, and I was like, oh, he was real.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was real until, but I think he kind of felt bad because 30 seconds before that, when they panned to his face, he was laughing his ass off about Chris Rock calling his wife bald. So he can't. I think that's why he felt like he had to go up there and do something drastic, because she was sitting slightly behind him, man. So I think she locked in on the fact that he had to laugh at that.
Yeah, and then she didn't even defend him when when the fallout happened.
I know. And then she still went and fucked him over. He goes up and defends her on her, and she's still out fucking around behind his back and
she just left
doing
him,
snaky shit.
left him to take that L. I was like, well, that was pointless. You just fucked your career up for that.
Yeah.
Well,
he is her fucking career, though. I mean, how much great shit has she done, man? He's been in some blockbusters, dude. I mean, come on. Let's face it. He's the breadwinner in that family for sure.
Yeah, but she got a couple classics under her belt.
I mean, her big claim to fame seems to be reminding everybody that she was Tupac's friend.
I mean, she was in Set It Off. That was a classic one.
Yeah. I'm not going to deny that. You're right there. When you're right, you're right.
And I think she was in Boys in the Hood. No, I think.
No, I'm not giving you. No, I'm throwing the flag on Boys in the Hood, brother. I'm sorry, I got it. I don't know if you got that one right, dude. I can't remember. I remember the extremely sexy Nia Long.
Yeah. Okay. It was Nia Long.
Yeah.
She definitely. I mean, they all got money. I know she was in a couple. Definitely not like doesn't hold a candle to Will's catalog, but
yeah.
Both of they. I mean, they have both parents that have some type of success in movies and whatever. That just like, but at the same time, they probably had a lot of weird shit going on in their circle because they was in such a level of success and like extravagance that the line started to get blurred on what was taboo and what was not in their relationship. And they probably already had an open like marriage, but like having that thing with August Alsina and Jada come to light, like now it's like put on Front Street, but they probably already had that arrangement going on long before it got to public knowledge.
So let's have the question or the debate that that continues to burn on. It seems like kids in the hip hop chat rooms in circles, we love to have it. We love to have it about everything, athletes, any category you throw out there, man. But seeing as that you're a guy who's dipped his toe in hip hop, let's hear it, man. Who's the fucking GOAT of hip hop? Is it Jay-Z? Do we got to give it to Jay-Z?
Man,
it's hard not to.
I like Nas.
But Pac did a lot of shit before he was 25 years old, which is pretty incredible, man. He got killed, but still had movies under his belts, 75 million albums sold, a couple of good movies, too.
The crazy thing is he like sold all those records, and when he died, he still owed Death Row money.
Tupac did?
Yeah.
Man.
Like they said when he died, he had like $100K to his name, a Benz that wasn't in his name. It was in Suge Knight's name.
So maybe that night they were trying to shoot. That's a tough one to say. Shoot Suge Knight, and maybe since Tupac owed him money, he just decided to be the human battering ram for him, the shield.
Man, that was definitely a gang retaliation.
That's shady, yeah.
Because they jumped some guy at the casino right before.
I remember the Tyson fight.
Yeah, they jumped that dude. He definitely retaliated.
But is it crazy though that you've got two, at the time, very prolific rap stars, obviously polarizing to people, and at the time there was the whole West Coast, East Coast thing, man. But is it crazy that both Tupac and Biggie are gunned down and these both go unsolved? Crazy, right? Somebody knows something. Come on.
Man, I have my theories about what happened. And I mean, it's pretty much solved at this point. It's just
is it?
The law enforcement didn't solve it, but like between a lot of these Vlad interviews, he's interviewed like all of the cops, everybody that was around the entourages at the time, like all the people that were like that hung around Tupac and hung around and behind the scenes and stuff. Like all these people have been interviewed and they've all corroborated this story that Orlando Anderson killed Tupac, who was the guy that they jumped at the casino shortly before he got shot. And he was a member of the Crips.
And that was caught on camera too. That was right in the lobby.
Yeah. and then like he killed Tupac, and then that dude ended up getting killed later on, I think for some unrelated. But the guy who killed Tupac, that everybody claims killed Tupac, that's like being corroborated, he's already dead, but it just never got solved by law enforcement. But that's what it is. As far as Biggie, I feel like, man, that one's tough.
That was crazy.
Everyone says the person of interest was a dude. If they say, like, if I could just put the context clues together, they said the guy that's a person of interest in that scene was a guy that was wearing a bow tie.
Yeah.
And somebody from Nation of Islam.
Yeah. Some Farrakhan wannabe.
Yeah, don't nobody black wear bow ties that's not in the nation. Like,
yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of. And, you know, they get away with murdering anybody. Like,
sure. Yeah. I mean,
they scary, low. They like a mob, like a religious mob, like low key.
Yeah.
I kind of low key afraid that I said that now because of it.
Yeah.
Back to Farrakhan, I ain't trying to get taken out. So.
Yeah. Don't take us out. Listen, man, we're just trying to do a nice little podcast, and this guy's just trying to get his music out here. We mean you no harm.
Yeah.
We gotta put that disclaimer out there, man. Yeah. I think we're all right as long as we did a disclaimer, dude. I think we're fine.
Yeah. I think we're good now.
I think we're good. How about you got a theory on the whole on the flip side of the coin, Kurt Cobain's death? What do you think about that? There's some foul play there too. Courtney Love wanted those songs and just had to shoot him because dude, a lot of people say he was about to dip on her though, man. He was going to leave her.
Man, I don't know, man. All I know is
she was a lunatic.
It just seems so weird to me. Like he did like he did it with a shotgun, but he like shot up. They say he shot up like mass heroin, and then like took like shot himself with a long ass shotgun.
Yeah. Toxicology reports said that he had probably too much, even an experienced heroin user, who had a habit. It would have been so much heroin that he probably wouldn't have been able to actually hold the weight of a shotgun. You'd have just been so, fucked up,
That's what it's weird, man. And another ironic thing, it was like the guy that discovered his body was installing a security system.
Yeah.
Like,
after the fact.
Yeah. After how does the guy going to install the cameras discover the dude after everything goes down? Like,
yeah, you're a day late and $1 short, buddy.
Man, like
so let me ask you this, man. The format that this last album that you put out, this Feral Pigeons on Government Square. First of all, what is that the title of that album? Are you referencing something in particular, or is that an homage to something? Like what? Tell me about that.
So, like, where I live in Cincinnati, there's a central station where all the buses, like our bus system, they all meet at Government Square, where all the buses meet in Cincinnati. So,
okay.
In my day job, like I catch 2 buses to go down to Government Square and then catch to go to work. And a lot of the people that catch buses down there, they're either going to school or they're going to work or whatever. So, like one of the few animals I see down there, I see is just like rats and pigeons.
Yeah.
Rats, I kind of just, whatever. Rats are few and far between here. They're not as much as like New York.
Yeah.
But like the pigeons are pretty much like the dominant thing that hang around. So, like they're kind of like they're not aggressive, but like if you go open up a bag of chips, like they're like hounding you.
Yeah.
They're like rolling up on you. And then like if you hanging out there, you might catch a person rolling up on you trying to sell you like some shit they stole out the grocery store or try to ask you for $1.
Yeah.
So like the behavior of the people that hang out at Government Square is kind of like grimy, low key. Like there's a lot of just fucking crazy shit going on. There'd be like some dude tweaking off drugs. Like
I get it, man. Yeah, we got neighborhoods are around here too that are that are in the city that I grew up with, which I'm more in the outskirts now. But yeah, I mean there are certainly seedier neighborhoods in the city that I lived in.
Right. Yep.
I've seen a thing or two.
Yeah.
You don't get this far in life without it, man.
So like the monologue that kind of like ties the concept together is Feral Pigeons on Government Square While we wait for these buses to take us to our occupation and our destination, these pigeons wait for crumbs to fall out of our own pockets.
Yeah.
While we often demonize them and consider them rats with wings, we sit and wait for the crumbs to fall out the pockets of the one percenters. Figuratively speaking, we're the pigeons in this capitalist society.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of what ties it together. Like the people at Government Square are the pigeons on Government Square.
Yeah.
Like they're both.
It's a tight metaphor. It's a tight metaphor, man.
Yeah. And I was just like, I was just also in a headspace where I was just like, man, I want to have an album that has like an obscure title. So like if somebody like just came across it, they're like, this is a weird title. I wonder what this sounds like. Like
that's smart. I mean, dude, you know, that's totally smart, man. I think, you know, I don't think it's necessarily you have to have the attitude of like you're a sellout or you're doing something, you know, that's kind of, you know, where you're being a ham or whatever. You know what I mean? You, especially with so much competition and such an influx of art and music and stuff out there, man, you've got to almost dare to be a little bit different. I mean, you know, that's what the true pioneering bands were doing. I mean, you know, I mean, Kiss totally milked painting their faces, you know, I mean, but they, you know, but they turned themselves into a fucking brand. How many bands get a movie and a comic book and shit, you know? I mean,
their merch game was just undisputed, second to none.
Phenomenal, man. Like they literally became like, you know, their own enterprise.
Yeah. I don't know if I would ever want to get like, go they all the way to their level, but definitely there's a lot of stuff within their like because they had like fucking Kiss caskets and shit like that.
I know it got a little crazy.
a little wild right there. I don't want to be on no casket, man.
You got to really be a fan of the band that you dig, man, to want to have their fucking casket. I mean, that's like some high key like redneck like crazy like I just I'm a Kiss fan. Got like 3 teeth in your fucking mouth.
He had his Trans Am. He had a Trans Am and shit like back in the day.
Yeah, he's that dude. He knows who he is out there. He knows fucking who he is. Are there bands that you listen to that are like that? You know, that are a vast departure from the kind of music that you make. Like, what's the stuff that like if you're gonna sit around and you're not creating music and you're listening for your own enjoyment, is there certain stuff that you'll listen to?
Man, I've been listening to like some drum and bass jungle type of stuff. I've been listening to like vaporwave and mall soft music.
Okay.
And I think like to tie into like certain music that takes you back to like a certain nostalgic feeling. I listen to a lot of mall soft because it makes me feel like I'm in a shopping mall from the 90s and 2000s. And like obviously that's like an endangered species at this point is the shopping mall, but that's like one thing I kind of took for granted was like being able to go to the mall and just take in the atmosphere and just like walking around and just like that mall culture thing was like, I don't know, it was like a certain feeling. So like that's definitely one music I listen to that's kind of like, I don't know, it's nothing like the music I make, but I always listen to it a lot.
Boy, the mall takes me back, man. That was the place to go on a Friday night to try to fucking like check out Honeys back in the day too. I don't know if kids still even do that, do they? Young kids. I mean, did you ever go to the mall as a kid on a Friday night scamming for chicks?
I mean, yeah, just scouring, just going.
Yeah, fucking around. But you know what? I got a theory though, man, because I get what you're saying. We have one mall down here near us and things don't want to come into it. Most stores are getting the fuck out of it. I think there's so much purchasing being done online, man, that it's really fucking killing these places, man. And it's almost like they don't even want us out of our fucking houses. You go to the grocery store now, you got to be your own fucking cashier. I mean, what the fuck is this, man? Even McDonald's now. I don't know if it's that way where you are, man, but they've torn down a bunch of the older ones here, and you're driving by and you're thinking, oh great, we're getting a facelift, we're getting a spruced up nice McDonald's. Now they're just these cold, aesthetically unpleasing, just square gray buildings. Like they don't even want you to come in no more. They'd rather just have you go through the drive-thru and take your food and get the fuck out of Dodge.
Shoot, I mean, some of the McDonald's I went to, they got the kiosk machine. You can order your thing on there. I like that. I like that though, because
People don't want people around though, dude. That's the whole point though, dude, man. It seems like people don't want people want limited interaction with other people though. That sometimes can be a little sad.
yeah, but don't nobody want to work at McDonald's though.
That's true. Yeah, that was my
Like,
kids all their first jobs.
like everybody, don't nobody want to really work at McDonald's. Like we all, so like when they see, like I kind of like a lot of the technology that comes around with that, because like us as Americans, we complain about them jobs anyways. So
Yeah.
if anything, that takes the load off of the people that actually are working there.
Yeah.
It splits the line in half. So like half the people can go to the kiosk, order their food. I think it's cool for efficiency, because otherwise you're gonna get like this long backed up line.
Yeah. And people do have a hectic life. People do got shit they want to get to.
Yeah, and they fucking the orders up and shit because they're overwhelmed by the number of customers.
Yeah.
So kiosk or the person they're pressing the button, they can't say that you fucked up their order because they pressed the kiosk button. They ordered the food.
Yeah.
So, I think it helps to an extent. I feel like there's certain other things I feel like there's a little bit more automation, but it does add a little fear because it's like, that whole like technology thing becoming sentient. But
yeah,
I don't think it's gonna be like, I don't think it's gonna be like Siri gonna be making McDoubles for me or anything.
No,
like
we're not gonna get that far. I hope. I listen. I don't want to live to fucking see it. That's for sure, man. It's a little too weird. You know what I mean? Like with technology takes over that much, man. I mean, we're already pretty controlled by these goddamn cell phones. I mean, people communicate, they send emails, they check their Facebook, they pay a lot of their bills on there. I mean, they got all their contacts in there, a lot of their credit information. I mean, it's become like more of a big deal now, like misplacing your phone than your wallet or your purse if you're a woman. I mean, it's like, holy shit, where's my fucking phone? Like you start to panic.
Yeah, it is.
They got us, man. And this is nothing new. I mean, people laughed and scoffed at, like, I grew up listening to a lot of thrash metal, and there were thrash metal bands. Their name has escaped me. But, bands like Voivod. There were good bands out there that were warning about technology and robots and just that kind of stuff eventually running rampant and taking over, human society. Are we there yet? No, but you certainly see some trends where we could be. You know what I mean? Like we're literally like, we're running around like shitheads with this fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like all the time. Holy shit, where's my phone? You know what I mean? It's our lifeline to everything now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, I got to take the good with the bad, because like there's certain conveniences that I feel like in my daily life, if I did not have a smartphone, it would make it way more daunting of a process.
You got to play the game. Yeah, you got to be on board with it, or you're going to get stepped on and left behind. I mean,
simple shit is like riding the bus. Like I like that I could just pull an app on my phone, buy the ticket, scan it on the thing, and just walk to my seat. Like versus like pulling out my wallet, counting all my change, putting this stuff in the machine, and it takes longer for people to get on the bus. And like it's just a longer process. And then something like if I'm like, all right, I want to order some food, I can go on the app and pull it up on my phone versus like, let me see if they deliver in my area. Let me see if I got the menu from that place.
You're right there. Yeah, you're right. I can't argue with that, man. I mean, it certainly has its place. And like I said at the top of the interview, I mean, if following algorithms, getting to find somebody like yours music, the fact that we could be in 2 different states and even make something like this happen. I mean, it certainly has its upside, and it certainly should be doing wonders for artists. I just think that the record labels should have harnessed the power of the internet and gotten in on the ground floor and making sure these artists are getting paid like they used to do back when they could offer like record contracts and there were actual, record companies and labels and stuff. Because now it's like feast or famine. I mean, I hear some laughable numbers. You get 20, 30,000 streams of your song and you get fucking dick. You don't make anything, I mean, and then you're splitting that between a band. God forbid if you've got other guys in the band and you're splitting what? Oh, gee, great. We got 30,000 streams and we can buy a fucking hamburger, I mean,
it's
a grind to be a musician. It's not the glorious shit you think of when you're a kid playing air guitar in your bedroom, you know what I mean? And now all of a sudden there's a business side to it, and it can be a slog, like even from a naive standpoint. And I'm not ashamed to say this. I've said it on here before. I've interviewed guys where boom, as soon as their face comes on the screen, it's just like, holy shit, this seems surreal. Been listening to them for 20 years, 30 years, and I think they've got to be okay. And then you find out that some of them take day jobs, and I almost get off the interview and feel sad because I guess me being naive, I just think, okay, they've been a musician for so long, they've got to be okay, you know?
Nah, man, it's music is not very profitable for the musician.
Unless you're like Bono or, you know, John Bon Jovi, or you've already got a plugged in audience.
Yeah, I mean, even in them, it's just like a grind to get to that point. Like, I feel like in comparison to the label, the artists don't be making shit. Like,
No.
the label's making the majority of the money. And I was thinking about that today, like walking home, and I was just like, I mean, it's only really leveraged for a certain group of people that can get into a certain circle, that can tap into a certain level of investors.
Yeah.
To get to, and these people that make the most money off of music have the least passion for music.
Yeah.
So
you're right about that.
It's an odd, ironic thing that the ones that make the most money off the music care the least about the music.
Yeah, so, that is sad. That's sad. That's just fucking sad. I mean, so what is the play? Is there a right or wrong answer since you're making music? And I've asked this question of other artists, and I'm interested to get your perspective. I see a lot of artists. They're hammering you like every 3 or 6 weeks with a single, maybe keep their name relevant in people's brains. Some people are doing EPs. Some people are still doing full length, like the Feral Pigeons. You gave us like 15 songs. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love that because I'm an old school guy that remembers a physical product and reading lyrics and opening up something cool and having a physical product. You like that too? I mean, because that's a lot of songs. That's an ambitious effort.
Yeah, man. It's just like, it was coming out of like that ice age that was the pandemic and having everything kind of slow down. Because with the stuff I did with I Bet too, the pandemic was kind of still going on, and I feel like I didn't like catch it didn't really like catch on like I felt like it should have. So like with that being said, like I was trying to tap back in with my band, and Feral Pigeons was actually going to be an album I wanted to write with my band. But some things happened where we just weren't able to link up for one reason or another. And that was around the time I ended up breaking my arm. And I broke my arm, went to the hospital, caught COVID at the hospital.
And
double
whammy.
Yeah. And then I wasn't able to work for like 2 months. So I was like kind of broke. And I was kind of just like hustling here and there, like working merch booths, just trying to just making ends meet like that. But I stayed with my grandmother, so it wasn't like I had to worry about rent or anything like that. Like,
right.
But I do, I'll be paying bills like here and there at my grandmother's house. But luckily I was here when this stuff went down. Otherwise I would have been like in dire straits. But
yeah.
I was good. But either way, it was still like a struggle. So like that was a lot of where I started writing the album, because it was like, damn, I can't like, I'm trying to like bring ideas to the band and they're not really being receptive to the writing process, and we can't get enough to write. So I just was like, forget it, man. I'm about to just focus in and just create this vision on my own and just kind of just pull it together on my own kind of merit. And just like, I kind of was just like, fuck everybody. I'm just like, fuck everything else that kind of happened before. I'm just like, kind of starting new with the sound that I want to do. I don't care if people don't like this shit. This is just like the most uncompromising of that. Like this was the project that I was like the most uncompromising that I feel like I could get.
Yeah.
At that point in time. And like I was kind of just felt like I was taking a creative risk. I was nervous as hell about performing in front of people. Just because people was used to my hip hop shit and like the 808s and stuff, and less about the loud guitars. Like some people caught the intuitive shows and stuff like that, but as far as just me solo right there, it was totally different because I had the beats with the guitar. So that's how a lot of my stuff's being performed now. Like I have my beats running through my SP404 with my guitar and my vocals and stuff. And that's kind of like, it's like a hybrid type of set of like beats with the guitar.
Are you ever concerned? is the lo-fi part of it that how it's been described on some of the platforms and in different places where I've seen you mention on the internet, is the lo-fi thing, is it more out of function, because you're obviously, you're working with what you're working with there? If you had the opportunity to go into like a big lavish studio, would you want a more polished, higher production sound, or do you like, is the lo-fi thing purposeful too?
I just feel like I resonate with the lo-fi more.
Yeah.
But if I had access to that stuff, I definitely would utilize anything I can have access to definitely get, even have access to like one of them sound orchestral like sound rooms with like string sections and stuff like that. Like I would definitely consider it of like doing stuff like that, because it would be a new thing that I'm not used to doing. And I would I feel like I would be able to find a way to kind of like incorporate and utilize it. Anything I can get my hands on, I would like love to utilize it. Like I
wanted to make sure that I got the titles right. So like, I can certainly hear a lot of like a lot of punk and a lot of really crunchy rock elements. Some of the ones that stand out, I like the Kundalini track. That one's good.
Nice, man. Thank you.
That's got a lot of punk in is it I Lost My Race?
Yeah.
Because I can't even read my own goddamn fucking writing. And Kicked Out, that's another good. I can definitely hear elements of like, indie alternative and punk in those songs for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think Jay Retard was like a crazy influence on me. He's like this Memphis punk artist. And he was kind of like a multi-instrumentalist, like did the guitars and like had a lot of prolific work. He like passed away like 2010, but he was active from like 98 to like 2010 and just like put out like
what were the circumstances of his passing? Drug related?
Yeah, it was like alcohol and cocaine or something like that. It was like fucking crazy. That dude was there's this documentary about him I caught on YouTube, and man, that dude just, I don't know, it just felt like his life story was just like, I identified with a lot of different aspects of it, but he's like one of those dudes that like he was in the up and coming and like people was notarized, he was getting notarized, but he never got to that point.
Right.
He kind of like he passed away before he could actually get to that point, but he was getting to that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, like it's just crazy, like being that like epitome of like not being that, I guess, a failure, but at the same time he had created this work that kind of like it stands in its own right, like it has its own presence that has resonated with an audience that has outlived him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now I also hear I write these down because I'm a forgetful old man. Going through it and Objects in the Mirror. I definitely hear like a lot of smooth jazzy elements to those songs. You got a strong jazz influence, because jazz is one of those. I feel like jazz is one of those genres that's certainly like a niche market. Like people either love jazz or they hate jazz. Are you a jazz guy?
I like jazz.
You do?
I definitely, especially with a lot of different chords that they use, I definitely feel like I've taken some jazz influence. Trying to think, one that comes to mind, I really like. I mean, Miles Davis is a solid one, but I really like Fela Kuti.
Yeah.
That dude's.
I'm not up on my jazz. I feel like I'm asleep at the wheel as far as jazz. I got a guy that I work with who's trying to indoctrinate me and kind of pull me into the jazz a little bit.
And Herbie Hancock.
Yeah, he's a legend. I mean, even people that don't know much about jazz know Herbie Hancock's a legend.
Yeah, man. That Headhunters, that is fucking oh my god.
Yeah, he's one of those guys you could put easily, safely put into the genius category for sure. Is that like you mentioned a lot of guys, the aforementioned Prince, or you drop a guy like Herbie Hancock's name. Are you somebody who listens to these guys and plays the multiple instruments? I know you're not so concerned about public perception of you, but you know, you're obviously learning all this stuff for a reason. Is it important that people see you in a certain light? Like, are you striving for like, geez, I want people to see me, how talented I am, or that, you know, that I am a musical genius, or do you want to, obviously anybody would want to attain that, but is it something you cognitively think about?
Man, genius is a weird.
I know, such a
Genius,
loaded term.
genius is a very weird like label to put on yourself. I just don't have. I feel like I personally just don't have the ego to call
Yeah,
myself a genius.
you don't
Like,
seem like it. You're right.
even if even if I was to blow up and all the success, like I feel like I could never just call myself a genius. Like this is weird, and it's ironic. It just sucks. Like I used to look up to this dude, but like now you think of genius, like the only thing that really comes to mind is people like Kanye associating himself with being a genius. And obviously with this recent shit going on, this is like it could be taken as genius work, but it could also be taken as not genius work.
Madman. Yeah.
He's a polarizing figure right now.
Yeah, he sure is. Yeah. I mean,
it's someone like that. I don't know. I just can't call myself a genius, but I would like to be revered for my music and just like have people that have like that niche, like I don't know, almost want like that niche audience that just like if you know about me, like you fuck with me heavy, like MF Doom or some shit, or like like a
rest in peace to the great MF Doom, dropping his name. Yeah,
man, like or like I just want to be a like. It's hard to be a niche artist because it's like then people like on a wider scope don't recognize you, but it's not even about that for me. I just want to have that presence. Like when you hear my song, whether it's a hip hop song or a punk song or a rock song, it's it's me on this. Like it's me, no matter what type of genre it is.
So an identifiable sound, man. Like you want to almost carve out like your own, like you know how they say guys that play guitar have a certain tone. Oh, you can tell it's this guy playing.
Yeah.
An identifiable sound. You know, like so some guys are like that. They're just very distinct.
I mean, the thing is like in a way, but more so in the sense of like, all right, you might hear this like reverb guitar style. You're like, all right, this is like the going through it KAE Savage guitar sound, or the crunchy like fuzz guitar of like Kundalini. Like that's like my fuzz rock guitar, you know what I'm saying, it's type of sound. And it's just more so just like they're all my sounds, but they're all different textures. Like I'm just like multi-layered.
Right.
It's like what my styles to be identified. Like I know you can take Picasso, like he has his gray, like his works where he works for a particular set of color, and it's a particular era for him in his career. And you can tell by the way his style was. I don't know, a lot of like great artists that have an extensive amount of work, you can tell like which era in their career they were when they did that type of particular palette or painting that they did or album that they did at that time. And that's kind of more so what I want to be just like looking like when people look back, they're like, all right, this is when he was like in his Feral Pigeons era, like type of sound, whatever. And they're like, when he first did that shit, there's some people looking at it sideways. But as moving forward, they're like, this is like, I want to see YouTube. Like, I would like, one of my goals would be like a YouTuber 20 years from now, if YouTube will even be around, doing like a think piece on my song or think piece about Feral Pigeons and being like, why he named it this.
Right.
Relations in between the songs and what relates back to the Feral Pigeons on Government Square. And how the pigeons relate a lot to how Black people are in society and being brought over literally on slave ships at the same time the pigeons were like just someone that has like a think piece that ties that shit together. Even though I probably didn't even like intend for them to interpret it that way, I want to see people have think pieces that interpret my music in a way that's like I didn't even think about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I want people to like have in-depth like evaluations of my music on that aspect, because of the people that can pick up my shit like that, that's where I'm like, yo, like you get it, you get it, and that's why I'm like at the end
you want to have some you want to have some thinkers out there in the audience.
You know,
that's not I mean, I think there certainly are artists out there who have a polarizing opinion. I think almost music is so subjective that I could look at a guy like Prince and say genius. Plays a dozen different instruments, can sing in the high falsetto, can sing in low, writes his own shit, can fucking outdance most people, can shred on a guitar. But then somebody else might say, oh, all I remember is just his dumb, fluffy fucking pop songs. He's no genius. So, I mean, that word, like you said before, genius is very subjective, but you are also putting yourself on the fast track to being deemed that, though, because what else do you call somebody? I mean, if you're tracking the instruments by yourself and you're boasting the skill of being a multi-instrumentalist, and you're writing all this stuff, and you're self-producing it, and you're doing all these eclectic different genres. I mean, that's kind of when you start putting genius into the conversation.
Yeah. I think there's like me, because I know myself, I see the areas that I lack the abundance of, as far as that
Right.
is a genius. I guess, like,
well, you're going to be your own hardest critic. That's just, I think, human nature,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I think that's what it is. Like, I'm aware of the things that would otherwise prove me not being a genius, but I just can't. I don't know. I just cannot. If other people say it, that's cool, but I just cannot call myself a genius.
right. Well, I'm kind of one of those people of the opinion of, like, a grassroots type thing, a slow build, a groundswell, a la like I'm doing with the podcast. I'm not going to apologize if in a couple of weeks I put your episode up and 100 people view it or 50 people view it, because those 50 people, could go out and tell 2 people a piece. Now 100 people have heard about you, and maybe they don't all become fans, but they branch out like tentacles. Maybe this guy goes and tells 15 people. This guy goes and tells another 12 people. I mean, I never believe. I do believe that sometimes lightning can strike, immediately. Like, you can be plucked out of society. Like, you can have Usher, scrolling through YouTube and discovering Justin Bieber singing and dancing in his living room, and then pow, that kid's a star. But that happens very rarely for people, though. Everything, I feel like, especially doing it, do it yourself way, as I am with the podcast, it starts grassroots. If I could do a fucking cartwheel, I would. But I mean, sometimes from month to month, I'm seeing like, wow, I gained fucking 3 subscribers. That's a drop in the fucking bucket. That don't even sound like shit, but I'm happy that they're there. And I like when I hear a compliment, or like if I were a musician, I would like, people interested in what I have to say and putting me on a podcast. I just like to get eyes on people that I think are doing, cool, interesting things. That's important.
Yeah, it definitely is. That's all I can ask for, is people that appreciate it, and just getting to these platforms that'll allow me to, express my craft accordingly.
So what's next, man? You just put the Feral Pigeons album out. What? Just recently, right?
Yeah, it came out June 4th on my birthday this year. My 30th birthday.
Come on, man, hurry up! The clock is ticking. I want to say that, I want to be able to, I want to be able to say that I know some musical genius. I'm going to say I already know a musical genius, dude. You're already one, man. It's just the rest of the world don't know yet. That's how I like to look at things. I'm doing a genius podcast here. The rest of the world just has to catch up.
Yeah, man. It's time is whatever. Like,
you got to have confidence in what you're doing, dude. And there certainly is a difference between confidence and arrogance. So I don't want to come off as arrogant, man, but it's a fine line you're walking sometimes. Sort of like you not wanting to cop to being a genius.
Mm-hmm. It's like I just like really enjoy the process. Like, I really just enjoy the process.
But is the process sometimes extremely daunting to you, though, man? Is it hard sometimes to stay motivated in when you're doing music, when it has become such a tough road? Has there been times when you've wanted to throw in the towel?
Oh yeah. I was about to quit, like, before I dropped Feral Pigeons.
Yeah.
I was with the idea of quitting, because I was like, man, I feel like I don't even want to do music no more. And then I posted about that, and like everybody like like just swarmed that post and was just like being supportive about like not
That's
quitting.
nice, though. That is nice. I mean, shit, what are you going to do, man? If people are going to help lift you up, dude, man, I mean, it's kind of tough to say, nah, I'm still going to quit, though. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I definitely get down on it. I definitely get this like form of like, man, there's other people that are my like the most successful artists are like around my age. I mean, they're kind of all over the place, like as far as age range. But like there are people, the fact I'm like, yo, there's some motherfucking 30-year-old millionaires and shit that already go on world tours and shit.
yeah,
I'm like only played in a handful of cities, never even been on a tour yet, like never did X, Y, and Z. But I'm like, I don't care. I feel like I have peace of mind and I got freedom to do whatever I want to do.
right.
I'm not in no contract. I don't have any obligation. Like I make music. Like I don't have like that financial pressure to make that album that I have to be financially successful on. Like I appreciate like there's a lot of things I'm really appreciative of as far as like not being on that pedestal yet and like having that being under more scrutiny for every single move you make and stuff like that. Like
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the dark side of fame is the stuff that I really like I just test. And being famous today, like on the internet, is like the like weirdest shit.
Fucking hell, it looks like sometimes, man. I mean, people getting mobbed at the airport and you can't go anywhere with your kids.
Yeah,
It's tough sometimes because I feel for some of them celebrities, because I do feel like some of them paparazzi guys are just looking to get slugged, man, so they can pull a lawsuit and take just a little bit of the fucking pennies out of these celebrities' pockets. Then I also think, though, you know what I mean, celebrities to a certain point have to be a little giving of their time, but then where does that line ever get drawn, though? I mean, it's the fans that make them famous, but at what expense, though? You still do deserve to have somewhat of a personal life should you want one.
yeah. I mean, I would just try to be as nice to people as I possibly can. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I would just, as me as a person, like I would just try to be as nice as I can to an extent. Like, obviously, if I feel like I'm being disrespected, like, whatever, act
But it
accordingly.
is tough. But it is tough if you're trying to get from point A to point B, and all of a sudden 150 people turns into a crowd of 250 people, and then 500 people, and all of a sudden, man, everybody wants a picture, everybody wants fucking something signed, and you can't fucking walk 2 inches. I mean, I could see where that could get annoying too.
You just need to. I mean, people that's deaf, you just need to hire security, man.
You have to. Yeah.
You need to have security with you, man. Because if they're that famous, they got enough money to hire the security to like
yeah.
Shit.
So what's next for you, man? You put this album out, man. Like, what's next? How soon are you going to put out more music? Because obviously, you're not in a position to take this financially and go out on a tour as we know it, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna still keep like I got like I got one show lined up on the 23rd at the Southgate House out here in Newport, Kentucky. But
okay.
Other than that, I'm working on the next project, and I've just been recording demos and just getting it together. It's probably about 3 or 4 songs. I haven't named for it yet, but I haven't. I'm not going to reveal it quite yet.
No, man. Yeah, sit on it a little bit. You never know; the idea could change.
Right. That's why I'm like, I haven't gotten to a solid decision on the name, but it's definitely a lot more. I don't know. It's a lot more harder in that direction of like the non-compromising of the sound. I can probably play like a demo or something of the sound.
Yeah, is it going to be staying in the same vein as this, though? More of like a rock-oriented sound?
Yeah, it's going to be. It's definitely going to be it's going to have the rock sound. It's going to be some more kind of like soul sounding stuff. Let me see. I'll play like a little bit of it.
Okay.
It also takes a revisit to some of the rap stuff, but it's like a slight reprise. But you'll
I
see.
see Danny DeVito got mentioned in the song, as did Pikachu, as did Dave Chappelle. So I mean,
Oh yeah, man. Those are all three notables that people, three notable icons.
You're not going to get no argument from me. Yeah, I got to go see a boxing match once, and Chappelle was sitting right in front of us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He lives he lives in Yellow Springs, Ohio, which is like maybe like 45 minutes to an hour from me.
Yeah, he's got to be one of the. I mean, he's got to be one of the greatest stand-ups of all time. I mean, he can really do his thing, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah, here's a little preview.
Okay, please. Yeah.
As of now, I haven't got any words for it, but this is just the instrumental aspects.
Yeah, yeah. I like it, man. It's you know, there's a certain ambiance that you create with your music that's very relaxing. Where I can also hear some elements on some tracks of and I think you would certainly cop to it. There's certainly some Bob Marley influence.
Man, I mean, that's interesting. You kind of picked up on it. I don't really like Bob Marley's cool, but I don't really pull from. At least I don't consciously feel like I consciously pull from Bob Marley. But
Yeah.
if that's what you get from it, hey man.
Are you a fan?
I like Bob Marley. He's
Yeah.
tight, but I also like. It's just weird. It's a love-hate thing for me personally, because like me being a black dude with locks.
Yeah.
I kind of get stereotyped for being a Jamaican, or like
you almost can't sound too much like him, man, or else you're instantly gonna get that Bob Marley ripoff thing.
Yeah, and I just like
I get it. Yeah.
It used to get kind of annoying, but at the same time, it's not even really like it's not even the Bob Marley thing that I'm really annoyed about. It's just the person is just basic, and they're kind of just like, all right, this is he has black dude with locks. Bob Marley is the first tangible thing that I can
sure. Yeah.
Mine, but hey man, he's tight. I definitely he's cool. I just
so
don't
let me ask you this best I've been trying to weave these into the last several episodes that I've been doing and kind of starting a trend here. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given? Something that stuck with you.
I don't really know.
Could be a mantra of yours. I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be told to you from somebody. Just the best piece of advice you've ever been given, or that you could pass on, or that you have about music, life, anything.
I mean, one thing with me is one mantra that I always kind of roll with. It was like, which is also like my Instagram handle and stuff like that. But listening vibe has always been something I always kind of said. And people always ask me like, why listening vibe? And for me, it's just about being receptive.
Yeah. Why not listen and vibe?
Yeah, it's about just being receptive and not closing your mind off what's possible. And I've always over the years like try to find ways to like, what does it really mean? And I'm kind of just like, at this point, that's what it is. It's just being open to what's possible.
Yeah.
And just keeping that light that will show you what's possible.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I kind of fried right there, but you know.
But if you, yeah, but hey, man, you know, if it means something to you, man, I mean, you know, it's what gets you moving, dude. It what gets you grinding. You know, I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it works for me. I don't know, man. Advice is such a strange, like, because it might not always work for everybody.
A lot of it's bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it's hard for me to just like think of a quote that somebody could go by. And
I know.
I just feel like at the end of the day, just like be open to information, man. Like, because you
Yeah.
never know what vital information might make or break your career.
Yeah. You're
Um,
right.
always like when it comes to always take advantage of opportunities that come your way, and any opportunity, always question everything.
Yeah.
Question everything, especially if it's just like somebody hitting you up online and they're like, "Yo, I got this promotion deal or whatever," or we got this like we're this label and we want to like work with you on this thing. Like always question everything, especially
You
because
gotta.
people be
You gotta.
scammers. People are scammers. People try to take advantage of you. People always will try to like pimp you out as far as like these money grab promoters will try to like get you to buy tickets for a pay for play and get you to hustle tickets to go like sell tickets to a show to a rapper that ain't been popping in like 15 years. So you
Yeah.
like a you kind of just stuck as like a street team that raps.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of the shows here, like you just got to be privy of like what's going on and just navigating in this like jungle of chaos that is like the music business. And
Well, you hit it on the head right there, man. Jungle of chaos is a good fucking way to put it, man. I mean, and I try to have interviews on here with all different people. I mean, I've had athletes on here, mostly boxers because that's a sport that I follow quite closely. But just either people that do something that's an athletic endeavor or arts and entertainment, man. And so I see it firsthand all the time, man. There's certainly it's certainly contrary to popular belief is just not all these people are just living a glamorous lifestyle by no means.
yeah, it's like definitely 90% work and 10% play.
Yeah. People are really grinding and having to deal with the visceral side of it where it's not always pleasant and you're on the phone with promoters. You're trying to get booked on a show. You're trying to get paid here. You're trying to get paid here. You're trying to squeeze a nickel out of the last album that you made. You know what I mean? And it's sad because some of the people are really putting out great art and great music. And then here you've got this great piece of art and you can't fucking give it away. I mean,
Yeah, man. I just I think it's just all about why'd you do it and why you get into it for the first place. Like
it's got to be love. A lot of it's got to be love.
you gotta tap into the love of the culture and just enjoy every aspect. I don't know, man. It sounds like some wishful thinking, but for me, it's like, man, they just gotta take the good with the bad. Like,
Yeah.
the people that stuck on them contracts, be glad you can make a living off your music in the first place.
Yeah,
Like,
but some people though are miserable that way though. I mean, a la Prince changing his name to the symbol and writing slave on his face. I mean, sometimes those companies have you by the balls and they're strangling you and telling you that you're oversaturating the market too much, or the world doesn't need as much of you, or we want your next album to sound this way, or we don't like the single you want to give us. I mean, I think sometimes somebody who really likes to spread their wings and is also very controlling, a la a guy like Prince, and that's been widely publicized by bandmates and people that have worked with him. I mean, if he has a vision, he wants to see it all the way through. So being in a contract and having people to answer to makes his life miserable.
yeah, definitely.
That's not creative fulfillment. I mean, you got to be. It's sometimes it's hard to serve both of those masters. I mean, commercial success and creative success, man. But obviously the big trade off has got to be when those two coincide and match up with each other. That's got to be incredibly fulfilling.
Man, I've been trying to that balance. That's where the sweet spot's at. Like,
yeah,
find that, man. And also, just like that dude's catalog is just so massive. Like, it's just like there's just like a wealth of material. I'm sure his estate has that's just like
unreleased songs like still to be done, and even during his life. I mean, a few albums have been released posthumously. But what's on record for him during his living years is, I believe, either 38 or 39 albums. That's incredibly prolific. That's a lot of productivity. I mean, some years he was rolling out multiple albums in the same year.
Yeah, man. That dude, just like bar none. Like,
It's almost towing the line of genius, though, man. Like, because I had to ask his bandmate, Dr. Fink, when I had him on here, like, to be around somebody that just feels that creatively inspired, where they can work around the clock, catch a few winks here and there, but they're just like living and fucking breathing and vegging in the studio all the time, like pouring over shit and getting these sparks of creativity. That's got to be incredibly rewarding, but I could see where that could get daunting though, having an influx of stuff coming into you. And sometimes a musician would probably say, geez, that's a nice problem to have, all this great material coming in.
Well, I mean, I kind of started to feel like that. I feel like I started to feel like that with my own band, because like I said, I had all this like Feral Pigeons material, but they couldn't really keep up with the amount of stuff that I was coming up with at the same time. Because it's like I don't know, I have like a lot of stuff that I like wrote that I'm constantly writing, and I feel like a lot of other people that I work with, like if I don't know, it's just difficult to try to like. I think that's what kind of kept me from like put my foot all the way into a band, because I know that like I would make way too much material that would be piled up on somebody that could keep up.
Yeah, I see
And
that. I get that. I feel the same way about doing the podcast, which is why I started doing it with my son, and he was going to be my co-host on here. And then he's still under 30 years of age, but he's got a family, a wife, and 4 kids. And finding time to correlate meeting me on here to do these interviews was difficult for him. So then I mulled over the idea of going to find somebody else, asking a friend or somebody else to co-host, but having to feel like I got to run by somebody and say, hey, KAE Savage is able to do tonight at 8:30 p.m. That's not going to work for me. You know what I mean? And then I got to run it by somebody else. So I just got the notion in my head, fuck it. My son's not going to do it with me. I'm doing it by myself, because I know when I can work and be creative,
Right.
I don't have to look at my watch and say, geez, is my co-host going to be able to do 8:30 tonight? Or, or am I going to have to fly solo, and then if I've got to do that even a little bit, I might as well just be doing it solo.
Right. Like I like the aspect of being able to just build the world on your own and control it.
If I want to have an interview tonight at fucking midnight, but it don't work for somebody else, I don't got to worry about it. I could take my computer out if somebody keeps those kind of hours and I feel like doing it at that time, that particular night. I don't got to worry about my co-host is going to be in bed by then. I mean, I just fucking do it,
Yeah, that's literally why I like my setup for my performances now.
Right.
I take shows on gigs where the rest of the band will be available or whatever. I'm like, all right.
You just fucking genius at 3:00 in the morning, man, and you want to go fucking fire up all your shit and record a song, you can do it,
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know what, man? I applaud you for keeping that kind of artistic freedom, because while it is nice to be picked up and have a good system around you and people to lift up the morale and be in a band and the whole band setting, or like with me having a co-host, having somebody to play off of, because it gets tough, man. If you're carrying a project by yourself, it's also incredibly hard, man, because your shoulders invariably have to get wider. You know what I mean? I got to do all the talking here. I don't have somebody to bounce shit off of, or somebody that can, another perspective can interject stuff in here. You know what I mean? You're making music. You don't have you can't say, geez, I'm going to write a real intricate bass part because I know my bandmate can play it. You know what I mean? You're playing it,
Right.
But that's hard though, man. That's hard going at shit like that, man, because so some of those things when you're doing them, the idea of a gang mentality is kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps, and I mean, you can never really replace like the aspect of like separate musicians on an instrument,
Right?
like the sound of an actual band, the way the sound hits the room versus just like the beats are always going to be different, and it's always going to be give and take with those setups, and I enjoy playing with those people, and I enjoy playing with other people in jam sessions and shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm never turned off from the fact that I'm always down to like jam with people that are willing to come through and jam, or like invite me to a thing to come out and jam. Like I always love doing those type of things. So it's not like I'm totally a hermit. It's just really just like with my projects, because those require a lot more time with like buckling down, recording,
Yeah.
mixing, mastering, coming up with these concepts. Like it just takes other things than just linking up and jamming. Linking up and jamming is like the easiest thing to do, because
Yeah.
you bring your guitar, your instrument, and then you just catch a vibe, and everybody else just blends in around it. So that shit's not really. It doesn't take as much thought as like building a project that can be commercially like sold and stuff,
Right.
just like some merch or whatever. So
I'm nodding my head as if I agree, man, but I don't play anything, man. I'm obviously frontman material, man. Look at this face. I mean, I'm a front man, solely a front man. That's it, man. I don't play anything, man.
I mean, you fronting the podcast, man. Shit.
I'm fronting the podcast. And I got Diamond Dave. I got Pops looking down on me, man. And listen, man. How do we get K Savage to attain world domination, man? What's the game plan? First of all, where can people find your music? Spotify, check.
Spotify, Apple Music.
I found you there. Yep.
Tidal, Amazon. I think if you go to like my Instagram page, there's like a link. What is it? Like a link tree.
Yeah.
So I got my stuff on Bandcamp. I have CDs. I have.
Holy shit! Listen to that, folks. The man has fucking CDs.
Oh yeah, we doing the 2005 style. Right?
Fuck, why not, man? I'd like to hear that, man. That's very throwback right there, man. I mean, still doling out the physical product, man. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing to apologize about there. And it's K Savage, KAE. We don't want anybody in there putting in the search engine, because there's probably a KAY Savage somewhere, and Lord knows what she's fucking doing. Ruining our good name, man. That's what she's doing.
Right.
Hopefully
man.
She's good. No, it's funny that you bring that up, man, because or I brought it up, the spelling thing, man. I talked to a couple of guys on here from a really great three-piece rock band called King, KYNG, and they've got the market cornered and got the copyright on that spelling. But I had to ask, though, I was curious. Every hip hop artist out there, that they had to send out a bunch of cease and desist, because it seemed like the hip hop artists love to refer to themselves as King with a Y. So I think a lot of them got hip and they just started adding more N's and more G's to it, like KYYNNGG. Crazy, man. Yeah, so don't try to make yourself King Savage.
Nah. I mean, like my last name is actually Savage, so
no, you got an advantage then, man. That's the government name, huh?
Yeah, ain't nobody deceasing my name. But
no, not your real name. So this next project you're gonna put out that you're working on right now, this is gonna be like another a full length.
I don't know yet. I'm thinking about making it an EP so I could like do more music videos.
Yeah.
And like, do like maybe like a music video complimentary.
Yeah.
But I gotta get I gotta get a new MacBook and get some things situated with that so I can start doing video content again.
Yeah.
But
well, I'll tell you, the general consensus of a lot of metal bands right now is a lot of them are going, and not just metal bands, but just bands in general, are going the EP route, because, as I mentioned earlier, the attention span thing, where people are picking and choosing what they want to listen to, and they're only lending you their ear for a short time, and you better be good while you have it, and the shit better be good. So it kind of applies more now than ever, the all killer, no filler. So a lot of bands are doing EPs, just a small batch of really tight, well crafted songs.
I think that's what I'm leaning towards anyways, because I notice I get a better reaction when I do projects that are like that small, like as far as like 6 tracks. Like I feel like those projects, when I do those ones, people will gravitate to those ones more.
Yeah.
And
you don't have them for that long. I mean, it's tough sometimes, man, because it almost seems like we're in a society where, like, all right, show me your best shit. Hurry up. You got 30 seconds. You know what I mean? If not, I'm moving the fuck on. You know what I mean? And you gotta grab them and almost reel them in, like, while you have them. Like, all right, hold on a second, man. Here's my best fucking song. Don't go yet. I mean, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, it is, man. I mean, if they ain't got the attention span, that wasn't the audience I was looking for. So.
Right. Right. And that's a good, healthy way to look at it, I think. Absolutely, man. So you're out there, man. You know, I could sit here and chop it up with you for hours, man, but eventually people are going to be like, all right, these two are just going to fucking talk all night. I'm going to sign off of YouTube. But, you know, as soon as you do something new, man, we'll jump on, we'll stay in touch, and we'll do this again, man, for sure.
Yeah, I'll definitely let you know. I'm definitely looking at the top of the year to maybe springtime when I'm probably
Awesome. I'm always down to do it, man. I'm, you know, I'm doing interviews all the time, man. You know, I got a lot of good ones, man. Go check out the page and subscribe to it, man. I'll send you a link to it, man. And of course, I'll send you a link as soon as I put yours up, so you can feel free to share it and do whatever with it, man. You know.
Yeah, I definitely will subscribe.
Yeah. Please do, man. And it was awesome talking to you, man. And you know, I wish you nothing but the best of luck, man. I'm gonna be listening and supporting, man. I'm going to try to turn as many people on, just like anything that I fucking love, man. You know, I mean, I'm going to implore people to go check you out, man. And as soon as you do become as big as Prince, just throw a guy some front row tickets once in a while, man. That's all.
I'll throw you a press pass.
That's all, man. That's all I ask, man. Yeah. I mean, you know, and come on and do the podcast. That's it, man. You know, just don't get too huge on me. That's all.
Yeah, nah, for sure.
I'm just busting your chops, man. Listen, man, good luck, man, and thanks for coming on and spending all the time with me you did, man. That was real generous of you, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thank you for the opportunity, man.
Yeah. I'll stay in touch with you, my brother. All right?
Yeah, man, for sure. Have a good one.
All right. Salute, man. Thank you.
Yeah, peace.
All right. Talk to you later, man. Thanks, man. Later.
Later.
Folks, go out and listen to KAE Savage. How could you not love that convo right there, man? That kid is putting it down, man. Well, he's a kid to me, man. But I mean, you know, 30 years old, man. But I'll tell you what, man. You like some lo-fi, you like some indie rock, you like a little hip-hop, you like a little jazz, you like a little, you know, takes me right to, and I'll say it again, the Great Urban Dance Squad, or bands like Faith No More, bands that are really doing a very innovative, cool sound, man. You got to find them those little nuggets of genius out there. And I think KAE Savage, KAE Savage, out of Cincy, Ohio, man, is going to be that dude. Put some respect on that boy's name, man. That's my man, KAE Savage. Go out and check him out. You heard him say he's on Spotify. He's on Apple Music. He's out there again, man. KAE Savage. Guy's out there, multi-instrumentalist, on his grind every day, man, making some interesting music, man. Interesting music that deserves to be heard, man. Go check him out. Hope you guys enjoyed getting down on that episode. It was a long one tonight, folks. We got in there deep. We rolled up the sleeves. We did what Pod Scum does. We dove in deep. So until next time, y'all, keep it easy. See, there I go again, talking like a stoner. Should start letting the audience say it for me. Come on, you guys. Take it easy and keep it sleazy.